Hi there, I'm Rexer, and in this video I'll give you some tips and tricks on the gearing, and I will cover some frequently asked questions. Now, as in every video, this is a quick overview. Everything will be timestamped in the description down below, so you can just check out whatever part is relevant for you. Alright, so since the build has gained some popularity, Skin of the Lords have quickly increased in price. The good thing is though, you don't need to have a 1 red, 2 blue and 3 green chest. You can get by with a 1 red, 1 blue or 4 green, or a 2 red, 1 blue, 3 green, or a 1 red, 2 blue and 3 green chest, obviously. Just use the gems I listed here. Also, you don't have to get Unwavering Stance on your chest. I got Unwavering Stance because it is a good option and it was available for me at a cheap price. I think I got the chest for 1 or 2x. As I've shown here, you can just get Unwavering Stance on your passive tree for 2 extra skill points. Basically, you can get any Skin of the Lords that doesn't have any of these keystones I listed here. All of these keystones here will brick the build. Skeletoons. The level 21 anomalous summon skeletons are also super expensive right now, because there are lots of people playing summon skeletons. There are a couple ways you can work around this. For now, I would recommend using just a level 11 summon skeletons and 2 hardbound loops. Another more pricier option would be to use a level 20 summon skeletons and a +1 to all skill gems amulet. You could also get a ward helmet with plus level to minion gems, but you will lose out on some ward. Blessed Rebirth is a notable on a medium cluster jewel, which you can also get. It has the line minions created recently cannot be damaged, which basically does the same as the anomalous summon skeletons. But you will have to spend more skill points, or you can just buy it anyway. Okay, in the last couple of days I've helped many people fix their loops. These are the main problems that I have found. Firstly, most of the time the skeletons don't have the correct duration. So for 0% cooldown reduction, you need to have 57% combined on your to dust jewels and a level 19 less duration with 20 quality. Similarly, for 9% cooldown recovery rate, you need at least 58% on your to dust jewels and 45% less in total. And for 27%, you need at least 51% less duration. You can also go into your PoB and check if you have the correct duration. For that, we click on the Calculates tab. Let's do this. For that, you click on the Calcs tab and choose your summon skeletons over here. If you have the right duration, your skill cooldown and the skill duration will be the same. If you have the wrong duration, it will look something like this. Alright, another problem is that people aren't dealing enough damage for the level 21 castman damage taken to proc. So let's firstly go over the basics. You need to take 3580 damage in one loop. What I found common is that people often only try to use one hardbound loop, but only had a level 11 summon skeletons, for example. Even with 2 hardbound loops, you still need to take 1000 damage from Forbidden Rite. Even if you have a level 21 gem, you still need to take almost 2000 damage from your Forbidden Rite. And for that, you need to have minus 60 chaos res and almost 3000 life. If you got your loop going but it stops after a short while, you might have mana problems and have to weapon swap a couple more times to let the recoup kick in. Some people reported that they get hit a lot in maps and then their loop stops. Just get rid of mind over matter for the time being then. Another problem might be that you have elusive or armour. You can't have either, but I will come to that again later. To get the loop going, you need to have spectral spirits on both weapons in your offhand and weapon swap. Another problem might be that you accidentally picked up another flask through auto-equipping. Alright, for onslaught there are several options. I am using the most expensive option of having it on the ring. I would recommend to just get it on a flask or on boots as a prefix. Or just skip the onslaught for now, since it's just 20% more movement speed. Omniscience might be a really good option for the build if you just want to maximize your damage. As you can see, it would increase my damage by almost 20%. Though with a perfect omniscience you would still have to get some more attributes. But you can easily do that by replacing some of the resistances on your ward gear by additional attributes. If you're trying to use the annihilating light, then resistances are kind of rough to cap. One option could be to use omniscience. Another option, and the one I used for a long time, is to have additional resistances on one of your flasks. Also, I would recommend only going with the Annihilating Light if you have some decent budget to get good ward gear with resistances. Lots of people have seen my Bleed Corrupted ring and tried to get it. It is super expensive and not really necessary. You will cover almost all bleeds by having a Corrupting Blood jewel. The ring is just for the puncture hits that are a single big bleed. And even if you get hit by one of those bleeds, you have a lot of regen. I just have the ring because it was cheap at the time. There are actually other good corruptions on rings like quantity or additional damage. Now, once again, you can't really use armor as it reduces the damage you take from the hardbound loop. Well, in theory, you can have some armor, but you would have to recalculate how much damage you take from your hardbound loop. The same thing goes with endurance charges or general physical mitigation. Also, elusive breaks the build. I think with elusive you start dodging the damage from Forbidden Rite or from the hardbound loop, but probably from Forbidden Rite. As some people have asked, yes, the build works perfectly fine without any cooldown recovery rate. It is, however, a pretty strong multiplier. As you can see here, just the 9% breakpoint is a 14% multiplier, and the 27% one is even bigger. So I would recommend getting 9%, as you can just craft it on your belt, and get the 27% as a super late game option after you've spent like 100x for your build. The same goes for the Forbidden Jewels. You don't need the Deadeye Jewel. I got to level 95 without having them. It is once again just another good late game upgrade. Now, a thing I didn't mention in the first couple of guides are the pantheons. For the major one, you want to go with Arakali. The other ones have physical mitigation or are just useless. For the minor one, you want to go with Yugul, and together with a flask, you will be almost curse immune. You get to 98% curse reduction. Some people have asked how Righteous Fire is sustained, and it's just through the life recuperation. Also, the mana recoup is how we cover our mana costs. Alright, last question. How do we craft the belt? You want to craft on a Shaper or Crusader Stygian Vice. You can easily make a Crusader Stygian Vice by Crusader slamming a Stygian Vice. You then alteration spam for reduced flask charges used, flask effect duration or cooldown recovery rate. You then Orc and Regal and hope for another one of those 3 mods. If you hit reduced flask charges and flask effect duration or cooldown recovery rate, you can craft the last one. If you end up with duration and cooldown, unfortunately there is no reduced charges craft, so you have to scour and try again. So after crafting, you will have a belt with a prefix and all 3 mods, and then you will use the Harvest Craft Reforge Rare item, being much more likely to receive the same modifier types. Then you just need to get lucky and end up with a good belt. If you fail, there are several options. Either you can just try again, or you will have to craft cooldown or flask effect duration again. If the Harvest gets rid of the reduced charges mod, then you have to start over again as well. Okay, with this the video is pretty much over. I will now show some regular mapping, as I haven't showcased that yet.
You are greater than a god, untouchable.
Thank you.